Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person. Yosemite's one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
Well, you haven't. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
Amazing.
He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Big, massive dumps.
Oh, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real.
You ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
Putting us on our knees to China.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Peachtree dish.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jeff Waldorf. We're gonna have a fun show. It should be interesting, at least. So, of course, we got some fun stuff to talk about, and not so much fun stuff. So, interesting. So, what do I have today? Well, of course, we're going to talk about the new round of changes to Twitter. I know. And mainly it's just more of Elon Musk being a baby. We'll talk about that. Okay. Then, we have Marjorie Greene talking about Ohio. Oh, interesting. So we have members of the right wing that are actually talking about the Ohio train derailment. The only problem is, well, we'll get into that. We'll get into what the problem is. We have Dianne Feinstein. Is she or is she not retiring? Nobody really knows. Not even her. So we're going to talk about that. It's actually more of a difficult conversation that has to do with, mental competency, and age, and etc. And so we'll get into that as well. So yeah, but we'll start out first with CPAC. CPAC and their COVID waivers. Fun. All right, so before I dive in to the show, please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. Of course, need your help more than ever, more than always. All right, so, well, why don't we dive into it? Over the last few years, attendees at the Conservative Political Action Conference, also known as CPAC, have made light of COVID-19. First, of course, they would go and denounce masks, vaccines. They would push fake cures, the ivermectins and the hydroxychloroquines and all the weirdo stuff. However, the organizers are being a bit more cautious. In fact, I'm going to tell you how cautious they are. But first, I'm going to tell you how cautious they are not. What they are not doing, I should say. Because having vaccine mandates, and masks required for entry, that is not what they're doing. Okay? However, what they are doing is making everyone who attends sign a waiver, promising that you or your family, in the event of your untimely demise, are not able to sue CPAC if you get and die from COVID. Look, hey, there it is. All right, so now let me read the COVID waiver on CPAC's website. It declares that COVID-19 has been declared a worldwide pandemic by the World Health Organization. All right. COVID-19 is reported to be extremely contagious. The state of medical knowledge is evolving, but the virus is believed to be spread from person to person, contact or by contact with contaminated surfaces and objects, and even possibly in the air. COVID-19 can cause serious and potentially life-threatening illness and even death. Oh, hold on here. I was told by conservatives, especially many of them who went to CPAC, that, oh no, COVID, don't worry about it. Just a tiny cold. It's a flu. It might not even be real. It might just be fake news. It might be something that the deep state came up with to take down Donald Trump. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, or just a way to get the mark of the beast. Inject that mark of the beast into your veins. Yeah.
Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
The demons. The demons. Also.
It's the devil, okay?
It could be the devil. Could be.
It is an alien force, not of this world.
I don't know. That's what these conservatives are saying. They're all over the place. They have no idea what they're talking about. All right. So that's it. CPAC protecting their ass by saying, look, hey, we know this is going to be a virus-infested pit because no one there is going to be vaccinated. Of course, nobody's going to be wearing a mask. Nobody's going to be social distancing. We're not going to do any of that stuff. We're just going to get all the chuds in one place, and we'll see what happens. And when, or if, I would say if, but probably when, there is an outbreak of COVID among attendees, well, they don't want to be held liable. Okay? That's it. When there's their ass on the line, they're going to take this very seriously. In fact, here's what the waiver says. Attendance is of such value to me and or to my children that I accept the risk of being exposed to contracting and or spreading COVID-19 in order to attend CPAC's events in person. I hereby forever release and waive my right to bring suit against CPAC and its officers, directors, employees, and other representatives in connection to any exposure, infection, and or spread of COVID-19 related to my attending CPAC events. Let me just say this.
Oh my God, he admitted.
And look, that's not the tune that the guest speakers had previously been saying when it comes to COVID-19 at CPAC. In fact, back in 2020, then White House Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney depicted COVID-19 as a prosaic flu, erroneously hyped by the media as something that brings down the president. In March of 2020, CPAC leader Matt Schlapp told Fox News of the novel coronavirus, quote, what the CPAC experience has taught the whole country is that it's actually hard to get. Oh, well, interesting, because CPAC itself in the waiver says actually it's incredibly contagious. So, a little bit of a contradiction here, okay? Now, we, of course, expect this level of hypocrisy, all right? When it comes to conservatives, all they want to do is protect their bottom line. Again, this is indemnifying themselves against lawsuits. You sign that waiver, you sign away any rights to sue CPAC for you inevitably coming down with the plague or whatever, right? But surely, as believers in freedom, are CPAC attendees Are they expected to abide by this mandate against freedom? Against their ability to sue in the free market? Yes. In order to show up, in order to be at CPAC, you do have to sign it. CPAC spokesperson Kaylee Spielman told the Raw Story that people have to sign the waiver. Oh, okay. So you sign the waiver. All right. Now, the hotel also has no COVID policy. So, in fact, Spielman explained that sanitizer will be located around the hotel in the event, although masks will not be provided or required. Now, if an individual wants to wear a mask, they will have to bring them for themselves, which, of course, 0 people will do. There will be no masks. There will be no very few vaccinated people at that event. And so, whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Stupid.
Now, that said, CPAC organizers are actually kind of happy about the hotel not having a policy for COVID. Why is that? Well, they won't have to enforce it. Back in, I think it was 2021 or 2022. I can't remember which one. That they had that the hotel actually had a COVID policy that they had to enforce. And so before CPAC kicked off, you had a couple of people that had to go out there and be like, look, we have to abide by the hotel and their rules. And I mean, we all believe in capitalism. They literally said, well, we're all capitalists here. So obviously we all respect private property and private rules. And so the rules of this hotel mean you have to wear a mask, but we all respect private property and capitalism, right? We're all capitalists here. The response was, boo, boo, freedom, bullshit, freedom. Yeah. So it's about as unhinged as you would expect. Okay. That said, these people got booed off the stage. But look, if you're vaccinated, yeah, you're going to have a lot easier time dealing with COVID than people who are not vaccinated. Doesn't mean you can't get sick. This isn't miracle juice, that is like an impenetrable shield. It just means that when you get COVID, and look, we're all probably going to get it at some point, you're able to deal with it a lot better because it protects against severe infection. And look, or I should say severe illness, okay? Even so, people are still dying from COVID. According to CDC data, for example, more than 3,000 people in the United States have died each week of COVID-19 for just the past several weeks. So that is still a 9/11 that is happening each week. Now, our government at this point, which is basically 6 corporations in a trench coat, have decided that this is an acceptable loss. And, most people are just kind of shrugging their shoulders and saying, oh, this is normal. In fact, the Biden administration, by the end of May of this year, will declare the emergency over. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that COVID's gone. COVID's still here. It just means that our government will no longer be paying for vaccines and treatment. So basically, you get COVID, and you will, but you're on your own. And if you can't afford what Pfizer wants to charge you for the vaccine, which does save lives, and that's why they're able to charge so much, that's a sad day for you. None of that, of course, matters to this group of chuds, this gathering, if you will, because they don't care about the vaccine. They don't want to take it, whatever. As long as they make sure, that if... and this is the organizers. They just want to make sure that if there is an outbreak, and they sure probably will be, they get their assets covered from lawsuits. Because at the end of the day, Well, they are capitalists, and they live like it every single day. Putting the dumb in freedom. It's true. I feel bad for the catering staff and hotel staff who are about to get wrecked. Yeah, and you know what? There is no mandated paid leave either in this country. Once again, that is something that our government, the 6 aforementioned corporations in the trench coat, have decided that we plebs are not allowed to have. You know, paid leave? Can't have that. In fact, look, there was and I wish I was able to do this story today. I'm sure some of you had to have seen the headline from the Wall Street Journal, where it's like, why don't you just skip breakfast if you can't afford it? I'm sorry, what? Skip? Oh, I thought breakfast was the most important meal of the day. No, apparently if you're poor, you don't get breakfast. I mean, it's insane, right? To save money, maybe you should skip breakfast. That's a headline from the Wall Street Journal. I could not read the story. You know why? It's behind a paywall. Ironic. Okay. Let's move on. Let's go to Elon Musk being a man baby. So basically just, another day. Another day on Twitter. If you're still on Twitter, you might have noticed a little bit more of Elon Musk's tweets getting into your feed. So, in fact, you might have noticed a lot more of Elon Musk on your feed. And if you're wondering if it is just you, well, it's not. Because apparently, according to The Verge, the platform changed its algorithm to show you lots more Elon Musk. Yes, that's right. Even more Elon Musk than you were getting before.
Elon.
All right. So, look, he apparently wants the attention, a lot of attention. So, let's, of course, get into the story by the platformer, which notes that Twitter CEO had demanded that engineers push his tweets to the top of the For You section, regardless of whether or not you follow Elon Musk or care. And so it's not really for you. It's, by Elon, for Elon to push into your feed whenever he feels like it, which is all the time. Citing people familiar with the inner workings of the company, platformers Zoe Schiffer and Casey Newton describe what is essentially a sad, pathetic man who was drunk on engagement and attention and will do anything for it, and has actually made forced engineers to redo the algorithm so that you have more Elon, because that's exactly what we need, more Elon. Wow. At 2:36 a.m. Monday morning, James Musk sent an urgent message to Twitter engineers saying, "We are debugging an issue with engagement across the platform." Oh, you don't say. Now, this, by the way, is James Musk, a cousin of the Twitter CEO, tagging @here in Slack to ensure that anyone online would see it. Any people who can make dashboards and write software, please, can you help solve this problem? This is high urgency. If you are willing to help out, please thumbs up this post. So high urgency. Oh my God, we have what's the engagement? It's down. It's down. We need to fix the engagement. Now, is this another example of the 3 a.m. cat turd call? No. Funny enough, it's actually something even more pathetic. before I get to the specific detail, I just want to note that we've had previous reports of Elon Musk crying about his lack of engagement. Last week, the publication reported that Musk had fired an engineer after that employee told the CEO that engagement had declined on his tweets in conjunction with an overall decrease in interest in Elon Musk himself since April, citing Google Trends that he had just, kind of fallen off. No, people are just not interested in Elon Musk's antics anymore. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Here's what Elon Musk did. He fired them.
Fired! Fired!
That's it. Fix it now. Fix it. You're fired. Fix it. Wow. Now, following that pattern, Musk, his latest blow up was about the tweet during the Super Bowl that got less engagement than President Joe Biden's tweet. Platformer notes that Biden's tweet supporting the Philadelphia Eagles in solidarity with First Lady and Eagles fan Joe Biden received nearly 29 million impressions. Meanwhile, Musk, his own pro-Eagles tweet, received just 9.1 million before he deleted it. Baby! Sad! After the game, which Musk attended in Glendale, Arizona, he flew to the Bay Area to seek answers from Twitter employees in San Francisco. He then reportedly threatened to fire what was left of the engineering team, which prompted remaining members to ensure that Musk, and Musk alone, benefits from previously unheard of promotion of his tweets to the entire user base. Engineers apparently fixed the problem by Monday afternoon. So, amazing. Elon Musk tweets out just a benign, like a football post. And he's mad that he didn't get more engagement than the President of the United States. He looks at that and says,
Can't let that happen.
"Oh, I gotta have more engagement than Joe Biden. How dare I not have more engagement? You must give me more." The algorithm, according to the report, now has artificially boosted Elon Musk's tweets by a factor of 1,000. A 1,000! I'm surprised it's actually not 9,000. But seriously.
Beta male.
Wow. Just wow. We live in the dumbest timeline. The stupidest timeline. Why does he care so much? That's what I'm curious about. It's like that's the reason this story is interesting to me, because I just don't understand. This guy's got a lot of money. Even with taking so many losses, he's an incredibly wealthy, with the third wealthiest person on the planet. Why does he give a damn about Twitter? It's Twitter. Log off, dude. Log off. Look, I'm barely on social media. Okay, when I'm done with the show, I'm pretty much off it. Okay, I go and I do something else, because I actually have a life. I actually have friends. I actually like to do things. I know, weird, right? Or sometimes I just want to be by myself and not be on social media. This guy, he can't. He can't do it. Elon Musk is obsessed. And look, I can understand if you're like obsessed with the business part of it, because especially if you spent $44 billion on this platform that wasn't worth $44 billion. All right, that's one thing. No, he's not obsessed with the business part of it. He's obsessed with his own engagement. That's it. I got to get more likes and retweets. I got to get more impressions. I got to get that sweet, sweet dopamine from people paying attention to me. Yes, that's what I need. That's the most important thing that matters to me right now. That and Cat Turd. I got to make sure that Cat Turd gets enough engagement too. He keeps calling me at 3 a.m. It's sad. It is very, very sad. Look, this guy had the potential to do good things with his money. Look, and I'm not saying that SpaceX isn't good. Okay. Tesla's got some problems. Okay. But yeah, I mean, there was a good idea behind it. But aside from that, I mean, look, you could work on solving world hunger. Okay. Poverty. Okay. Could do that. But no. He's not doing any of that. No. He's boosting himself on Twitter. That's what he bought the platform for. Just to boost himself and his own ego. And then forcing himself and cat turd on the Twitter base. Now, do you think that's going to help Twitter in the long term? No, of course not. It's going to make even more people not want to log in. So, whatever plan he has for Twitter, he never had a plan, honestly. It's by the seat of his pants. And, look, it's not going very well. Let's just say that. It's not going very well. And it's going to continue to not go very well as long as Elon Musk is at the helm of this crashing ship. Leon's wants to be the biggest celebrity without providing any value. Well, I mean, exactly. And here's the thing, too. People kiss his ass because he's rich. Look, if you do something and you provide value, well, that's one thing. Is he providing any value doing what he's doing? At this point, no. Look, his companies, they're not doing very well. Tesla getting in trouble. They lied about their whole self-driving car thing, which, again, is very dangerous. No, they're not doing very well. If you think rich people are geniuses just because they're rich, no, not at all. And this is just more evidence of that. Yeah. How bad do you have to be to go onto the internet for validation? I tell you what, you might think, oh, but well, you're an internet guy. I don't go on the internet for validation. I go on the internet to spread information and to give my opinion, of course. But, that's just part and parcel. Trust me, the last thing I need or want is validation from the internet. Doesn't mean I don't like it, but I don't need it. Okay, anyway. Let's move on. Let's go to Marjorie Greene. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is apparently mad about the lack of railway safety following the derailment of a train in East Palestine, Ohio. Now, since that derailment, of course, we've had derailments in Texas as well as Arizona. And so, yeah, there seems to be a real issue with train safety. In fact, look, going to Palestine, Ohio, the derailment and ensuing fireball, which, by the way, they said was a controlled burn, released hazardous chemicals into the air, like vinyl chloride. Vinyl chloride was being burned, and that released other hazardous chemicals into the air. Being very clear about that. Now, that said, Greene, she's taken to Twitter, to say, why aren't we spending more time talking about East Palestine, Ohio? That's a fair question. It's a good question, right? Yes, we should spend time. We should talk about it. But more importantly, should solve the problem. That said, she's going to go on Hannity. And, first, her and Sean Hannity are going to claim the left is not paying attention. And then go after the left for allegedly not paying attention to this disaster. And it just gets worse from there. So we're going to start out with the first clip here of her on Hannity.
And then you have this toxic chemical mess in Ohio, in Palestine that we reported on earlier in the program, and I don't hear anything from the new Green Deal climate alarmist cult about what is an environmental disaster by every measure. Why?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know why AOC isn't dressed in white and crying for the dead whales that keep washing on the beach from wind farms that are being placed all over the ocean. And people are calling the alarms over how this is not only killing unknown thousands of bird species, but also causing whales to beach themselves at record numbers.
Yeah, that's not what's happening, actually. Now, look, our whales beaching themselves? Well, yeah, it has happened. 9 whale deaths in New York and New Jersey in the last 2 months. All right. So that said, according to experts, it has nothing to do with the wind farms. Nothing at all. In fact, let me go here to Benjamin Laws, Deputy Chief for the Permits and Conservation Division with the NOAA Fisheries Office of Protected Resources. Here's what he said about that. Quote, there are no known connections between any of these offshore wind activities and any whale strandings, regardless of species. Now, he also says that speculation that sonar equipment wind companies use to map the ocean floor could have fatally harmed the whales has not been proven. Okay. There's no information that would support any suggestion that any of the equipment that's being used in support of wind development for the site characterization surveys could directly lead to the death of a whale. So, of course, unsurprisingly, she is not being factually accurate. Not surprising, right? Not surprising at all. That said, is the left not? Why is the left not covering this? Why are they not making a big deal about this? What do you mean? I mean, of course, the left is paying attention to it. Former Senator Nina Turner, for example, and now host of a TYT host. She's talking about it all the time. She's talking about this nonstop, tweeting about this. And so I left the independent media. They're talking about this because it's horrifying. It's a complete and utter disaster. So I don't know what, I mean, I get, maybe she doesn't see the left. I don't know. Maybe she's not looking for it. But look, here's the thing though. There were hazardous chemicals that were released. A lot of them. And it is important that we talk about this, right? In addition to vinyl chloride, for example, and butyl acrylate, there was also ethyl hexyl acrylate, which can cause things like headaches, nausea, respiratory problems. There's also isobutylene. The EPA has also noted the possibility of other chemicals, including phosgene and hydrogen chloride, which are, of course, released when burning vinyl chloride, which is what they did. In fact, they did all this stuff, and look, there will be long-term health impacts to the people that are there. And not just long-term health impacts, but there's impacts right now. It's been described as a toxic soup, and it's affecting people. It's killing wildlife. Residents have reported seeing dead fish, birds, and other deceased wildlife. So, look, again, we're talking about it. Other lefty media is talking about it. Where's like, she has no leg to stand on when it comes to that. Now, that said, has the right wing been talking about it? Yes, surprisingly so. Now, they've actually mainly focused on the chemical danger, which is fine. The lawsuits, apparently members of the town are suing or looking to sue. And, of course, the animal deaths. All right, that's fine. However, they also focused on Pete Buttigieg, which now, of course, Marjorie Greene is going to go on a fairly homophobic attack
But the real problem, Sean, is Pete Buttigieg. He's the Secretary of Transportation, and he's more interested in equity and inclusion in his hiring practices and grant-giving schemes and obviously probably chest feeding or something like that than he is rail safety.
Look, so of course she had to make this about wokeness and then throw in the homophobic, the chest feeding. Oh. Look, the real problem isn't Pete Buttigieg. And by the way, trust me, Pete Buttigieg is innocent in this, okay? And I will get to that, all right? The problem also is not wokeness, all right? It's not
The woker.
that's running the government, okay? No. What this is about is corporations that run our system of government. Corporate capture, okay? And ironically, that's going to play into the next video here, where Marjorie Greene talks about train derailments, right? And also about a bill that she voted against.
Because train derailment is happening every single day, and now thousands of people, birds, animals, they're all sick, and we don't know the consequences of this horrible accident in East Palestine. But we have people like Ilhan Omar. She wants to, crack down on corporate greed when it comes to rails and the privately owned sections of rails. But really what we have to do is we have to make sure that our rails are safe. Democrats passed a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, and only $5 billion went towards rail safety. This is a failure. It would have never happened under a Republican-controlled infrastructure bill, and we need to hold Democrats accountable for this, especially Pete Buttigieg.
Wait, hold on. You're saying that this would have never happened under a Republican administration? Except it did. There were train derailments that have happened. And again, it's not just because of one particular administration. It's because of corporate greed and deregulation. But look, okay. On the issue though of I can't believe the Democrats would pass a bill that doesn't give enough money to train safety. Well, what did the Trump administration do? Well, they had a chance to pass an infrastructure bill. Did they pass one? No, they didn't. In fact, what they did instead, in the 2 years they had full control of government, is cut taxes for the rich. I mean, Infrastructure Week was a joke. Literally, he did nothing. They did nothing. The Republicans did. So, all right. That said, Democrats did pass a bill. And by the way, the effects of which... and I said at the time, by the way, that the effects of which would not be felt for years and years to come. So that said, this disaster didn't happen because we didn't give the train corporations enough money. No, it happened. Look, let me point out why. Okay, let me explain this a little bit in detail. So these rail corporations have more than enough money. They're the company itself, Norfolk Southern, is a $55 billion company that made over $3 billion in profits last year, and from over $12 billion in revenue. They have the money to upgrade their braking systems, but what did they do with it instead? Well, they bought back their own stocks. That's it. So throwing more money at them, more taxpayer money, all that's going to mean is them buying their own stock back. It's not going to solve the problem. And that said, you're going to criticize what the Democrats did with the bill that you voted against. And not because, it didn't give enough to rail companies for rail safety. No, you voted against the bill because, well, I don't necessarily know why she voted against the bill, but it's socialism or something, right? Okay, I have to.
In Venezuela.
I don't know. She voted against it. Most Republicans did too. So what is she complaining about? Why? Again, the real issue here behind this entire thing is, again, deregulation. and pro-corporate policies. So look, now let me give you a little history. The Obama administration back in 2014, after some train crashes, right, proposed improving safety regulations for trains carrying hazardous materials, petroleum, for example, right? Now, the industry decided to push back on that. And the measure, because of that industry pushback, you had the rule that was severely watered down and only focused on the transport of crude oil. Those rules actually exempted trains carrying many other combustible materials, including the chemical involved in the disasters, according to reporting from the Lever. Now, in 2017, the Trump administration had been in, and after a lobbying blitz by rail companies that poured $6 million into Republican campaigns, Senate Republicans paid them back by repealing the remainder of the rule, which, by the way, involved looking into better braking systems. In both of those cases, by the way, in both of those administrations, corporate greed and corrupt politicians chipped away at regulations that may have prevented this disaster. So now I'm making it a point here to kind of spread the blame around to the people that deserve it. Okay, so I'm not pinning everything on Republicans, and of course I'm not pinning everything on Democrats. It's actually the corruption in our system is actually not partisan when you look at it, because you have big corporations, rail companies in this case, that use their lobbying power, the fact that our system is corrupt, there is systemic corruption, in order to buy politicians from both sides. So now, here's where we get to where Pete Buttigieg and the Biden administration do share some of that blame, okay? And it's not because, Pete Buttigieg gay, because that's what, Marjorie Greene and other ghoulish right-wingers are attacking him for. So Biden gets into office, right? He appoints Pete Buttigieg. And Buttigieg gets, as head of the transportation department. And instead of putting the Obama rules back that were taken out by Trump, he doesn't do anything on this issue. So he could have put those rules back. He didn't. In fact, right now, as of right now, there is no plans to put these rules back into place. In fact, according to the Labor, there is one brake safety proposal currently under consideration by federal rail regulators. It just happens to be an industry-backed rule relaxing brake testing requirements. So what is this? It just means deregulation, more industry-friendly rules. It's maddening. Now, the Biden administration, Biden himself, where does he get some of the blame? Well, you may remember a few months ago, in the fall, the Biden administration broke a potential rail strike. So now the unions were looking to strike, for one, as a result of not having any paid sick time. Okay, so no paid time off, brutal punishing schedules, and of course, other safety concerns. In fact, the Lever reports that between 2011 and 2021, the 7 largest freight railroad companies in the U.S., including Norfolk Southern, used their money, their profits, as I mentioned, they're a very profitable industry, not to address any of the issues that the unions were talking about. And in fact, this is why the unions were going to go on strike. They spent $191 billion on stock buybacks and shareholder dividends while slashing the workforces by nearly 30%. So more money for executives, shareholders, less employees. So now you're stressing people out who are working there, stretching them thin. In fact, this is Greg Regan, president of the Transportation Trades Department at the AFL-CIO, told the Lever, the massive reduction in the workforce, attendance policies that encourage people to come into work when they're sick or exhausted, lack of access to paid leave, stress that's constantly put on workers because of how lean the workforce has become, it creates a negative culture in terms of safety. Not only that, but of course, you have trains that have gotten longer, including, which basically there's more cars involved, more cars, less people running the cars, and then you add in Civil War era braking systems and unions that are not allowed to strike because the government stepped in and protected the corporation. It's a perfect storm of deregulation, corruption, money in politics, and anti-labor policy. Now, is Marjorie Taylor Greene going to criticize Trump and Republicans in Congress for deregulating industry? Is she going to touch on any of the nuanced issues that I just talked about? How, oh, did you know that they deregulated, they took away these rules that would have made these companies have to invest in upgrading their brakes? No, she, of course not. Now, that said, on the other side of the coin here, is corporate media out there blaming Buttigieg for not reenacting the safety rule that was stripped out by Trump? Are they going to be out there criticizing President Biden for breaking that potential strike, which, again, one of the demands by the union was, please invest in the workforce and do these safety measures. Put these safety measures back into place. The union had been arguing against relaxing rules when it comes to safety and braking. No. Of course not. Look, at the end of the day, Marjorie Greene and Sean Hannity, they're going to use this issue, which, by the way, is an issue. It's a serious issue that is going to have ramifications for a very, very long time. And their criticism could be effective at actually doing something against, basically what is corruption. But they won't. They're ignoring the real issues, and they're just doing partisan attacks. See, look, at the end of the day, it's not about the people. It's not about Biden, Buttigieg, Obama, or even Trump, okay? There's symptoms here. This is about capitalism that incentivizes shareholder value over the safety of human beings, over people's lives, and the environment as well. We see this all the time. It is endemic in our system. It is corruption. All the incentives in business and government are in the wrong place. And it is because of corporate greed and corruption. Our system is broken. It is systemic. It's no matter who you put into power, at this point, the system is far too corrupt to actually make that effective change from the inside. You have to have pressure from the outside. You have to have labor. You have to have unions. You have to have people power to fight back against the corruption and save people's lives. And I'm not saying in a violent way. I'm saying in a non-violent way. But people have to get together and be able to, root out that corruption. And for, keep, I'm all for holding, Buttigieg, Biden accountable, but also Congress, especially Congress, and hold the politicians and, most importantly, the donors accountable for their impact on the system. What nonviolence can do thus, though? I'll tell you what violence will do. Police state crackdown. You think it's bad now, it'll get worse. It's not the way. Okay. Let's go to Senator Feinstein. reporter Dianne Feinstein apparently did not know she was retiring. In fact, her office had released a statement saying that she would not be seeking re-election in 2024. Let me read you the statement here. I saw it on Twitter. I'm announcing today that I will not run for re-election in 2024, but intend to accomplish as much for California as I can through the end of next year when my term ends. Now, later on Tuesday, since this is a pretty big announcement, okay, reporters caught up to her and they asked her, okay, what you say you're basically you're going to serve out the end of your term and then you're going to retire. Well, now she told the reporters, I haven't made that decision. I haven't released anything. Wait, so hold on. Her office puts out a statement, and then when they ask her about it, she says, I didn't put out no statement. I'm not going to retire. What are you talking about? Now, a Feinstein staffer then told her, we put out the statement. She replied, you put out the statement? Seemingly surprised. Now, look, guys, this is pretty serious. We have people in office right now, like Dianne Feinstein, who are making decisions that are not all there. She has obvious cognitive issues. Now, I know, look, some people are going to get mad about me, mad at me about this, okay? How dare you attack a Democrat? How dare you attack Dianne Feinstein? You're being super ageist, et cetera, et cetera. No. Number one, I'm not trying to attack her, okay? I'm pointing out that she does have obvious decline, and it's not me that have been saying this. It's not a joke. It is a serious issue here. There are numerous reports that have come out from insiders, people who are staffers, people that work with her, that say that she is no longer able to effectively do her job. In fact, Jane Mayer of The New Yorker told All Things Considered 2 years ago that she says, really for the last couple of years, I've been hearing that Dianne Feinstein has been struggling, particularly with short-term memory issues, so that her staff will brief her and then she'll forget what she's been told or that she's been briefed at all. That was a couple of years ago. Now, apparently it's gotten worse. Now, one California Democrat in Congress also said that he had engaged, they had engaged in an extended conversation with Feinstein. In the course of that conversation, they said that they had reintroduced themselves multiple times throughout the exchange. So, look, this person, again, insider, right? This is a person who's like, oh, I can't wait to discuss in-depth policy issues. And I'm going to read you a quote, right, that shows that, yes, that there's somebody who really likes, Dianne Feinstein and is a Democratic insider, Washington person through and through, okay? Now, this person says, I geared up for this discussion. I always enjoyed having these discussions. But this time, instead of talking about policy, I had to reintroduce myself several times. And after I would, we would have a conversation about small talk. And she would repeat herself with no apparent recognition that they had talked about this just, sometimes minutes before. In fact, here's his quote. Or their quote, sorry. I've worked with her for a long time and long enough to know what she was like just a few years ago. Always in command, always in charge, on top of the details. Basically couldn't resist a conversation where she was driving some bill or some idea. All of that is gone. Furthermore, they said she was an intellectual and political force not that long ago. And that's why my encounter with her was so jarring, because there was just no trace of that. Look, it's nothing personal against her, okay? You have Congress people and staffers that are saying this. I have to stress, these are insiders. These are Washington people, okay? I'm an outsider. People get mad at me for pointing this out as an outsider. And in fact, look, a lot of these people don't want to go on the record because they know, like, oh, this is a sensitive, touchy subject. And by the way, it is. I'm going to get in trouble. People are going to get mad at me because I'm pointing out this very real issue, a very real cognitive decline. And that's uncomfortable because she's got seniority. She's up there. I mean, look, she may have, well, she's actually pretty high up there when it comes to seniority. I was going to say that she was the number 3 Democrat, but actually that was Crowley before, after in fact, look, Crowley would have been speaker at this point. I think afterwards, Jeffries, and then Feinstein. I'm not entirely sure where she is in the seniority rankings. Sorry. I guess I'm, again, proving that I'm not exactly an insider, right? But look, I'm an outsider. If I say these things, I get attacked. That's fine. These are insiders, though. And so I'm trying to tell you that she is not well. I think that she needs to retire. And I think that I'm going to get a lot of agreement. Okay? Look, again, nothing personal against her, but she should retire from Congress, okay? And live out however many good years she has left with her family and friends. And I know that's super uncomfortable, and I know that's super morbid. But let me just come at it from a personal angle, right? I know how precious that time is. Look, I have a family member who's suffering from mental decline. She's far more advanced in that decline than Feinstein is, okay? Long-term memory is essentially gone. She doesn't remember me. She doesn't remember my wife. She doesn't remember a lot of people. And it's very sad. And now is prone to emotional outburst. And, you know, it's sad. And that's why I think that it's even more important before it gets to that point for her. Because I think it is going to get to that point sooner rather than later. She still has times where she is coherent and cogent, right? And I'm talking about Feinstein here. That she spend whatever good time she has left with those moments with family instead of being in Congress. Like, what are you doing? No, go and spend what time you have left with your family, with the people that care about you and that love you. And this is, again, this is the most personal I'm going to get about this. This is ignoring the fact that, of course, that she's out there making decisions for 40 million constituents. No, it's time. It's time to step down. It's time to retire and let someone else take over. Now, there are 2 people, of course, that are running for that office. I believe it's Adam Schiff and Katie Porter. And so hopefully she decides to do the right thing and does not seek re-election in 2024. Okay. People often cannot recognize this problem in themselves. Yeah, it's very true. It's very, very true. Why would you want to die at your desk? Well, yeah, exactly. And by the way, that's the Republican plan for all of us, with them wanting to cut Social Security, Medicare, but, you know, I certainly would not. Barbara Lee is running too. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, yeah, Barbara Lee, 100%. Okay. Anyway, look, that's pretty much all the time I have for today. So let me read some super chats here, and thank some members. Can you take power to the grave? That's a fantastic question. No, you can't. No, you can't. Jonathan Leiter, thank you for gifting a tier 1 Waldorf Nation membership on YouTube. Appreciate that. Elwell says, imagine how empty Elon's life must be. He has to pay for people to be his yes man. No one genuinely likes him. Yeah, that's 100%. It's actually incredibly sad when you think about it. Very, very sad. Okay. Tyler Hackner, thank you for resubbing, being a member on YouTube for 4 months. Appreciate everything you do. And then LL again says, when the corporations write the rules, cops are just the prison guards. That is, again, another very, very true statement. Okay. Let's see. Go over here to Twitch here. Torch Crimson, thank you for resubbing for a month of tier 1. For 5 months. Woo says, woo, always a good time with all of you. Well, thank you. Well, thank you. How much sadder is it that people pay for the check mark? That's pretty sad. Pretty sad indeed. Very, very true. Let's see. Who's gonna hit that? Oh.
Elon.
All right. That's it. Thank you all for joining me. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Check out our videos as well if you missed any part of the show. Look at that. Mighty Darno says, happy good stuff, something, something. Thank you for the very kind $2 donation. Appreciate that. Super chat. Thank you. Good show. Nice chatting. Sad stories. Oh, we're always sad here on the show. At least when it comes to the stories, I know that's a bummer, but I guess, you know, what better way to get depressed about the news with, you know, good people and good friends. So, you know, if you're gonna get bombarded with depressing stories, I guess it's best to get depressed with friends.
The wokers.
Okay. So, Twitch. Let's go and see who's on. We'll just do a left flank bets raid here. Looks like they're talking about what's going on in Ohio. So, all right. Thank you all. Love you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Amazing.
The Republican Party's racist.
Jewish space lasers.
My.
Woke mob.
We're under attack.
The ass bitch.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
And why their due process rights are being so flagrantly and horrifically violated.
Stupid.